Hi, I'm Jazz, and this is All That Jazz. I have a recovery podcast, and I talk all things recovery. I am getting close to 5 years now. I know I'm talking about that a lot, but it's true. I'm just really excited about it because I can't believe that I've almost been 5 years sober. So it's an achievement, that's for sure. So I'm in also Codependents Anonymous. Love that program. And codependency is okay. Well, I'm an alcoholic and I'm codependent. If I'm an alcoholic, I'm likely codependent. And they say to go to a Codependents Anonymous meeting and try 6 meetings out to see if you think you're codependent. It is one heck of a onion layer to peel when you get into that program. It is not for everyone. We don't have a lot of people stay. So it's pretty deep stuff. But I thought that I would talk about, codependency is basically, it's like an extreme disease. Like it's like it's always like one side or the other side, or it's like there's too many extremes, right? And it's dealing with those in a negative, bad way. Like usually from childhood, like I did not develop my coping mechanisms when I was an adult. Like these coping mechanisms I built them when I was little. Like I built them when I was being parented, when I was being raised, what life happened to me, and then I developed like an internal database to deal with life after that. So codependency is not just in addicts, it's in lots of people. And that's what I really loved about Codependents Anonymous was seeing people in there that aren't just addicts. Like people that go to coda rooms are people that don't have addiction problems or they don't know what we're talking about when we say I'm clean or I'm, like they don't have that thing that I went through. Like, and I kind of think that's really cool because it really shows just the commonality in addicts and people that we have those same issues. Like someone next to me that doesn't have addiction problems can have codependency problems, and so can I. And I think a lot of my addiction problems, I think my addiction happened because of my codependency problems, because of my codependency, because of my childhood. And so, and the reason I know this is because it's all my codependency shows up in my relationships. All my weird negative coping traits that keep me safe, that keep me safe came from childhood. And what happens is that when I have bad coping mechanisms, it is bad for healthy relationships. And I don't get healthy relationships with bad coping. I get other unhealthy relationships or unhealthy dynamics. Like I can stay and survive in an unhealthy relationship my whole life if I want to, and I can stay in my denial and say it's fine. No one says I have to change. The only people that change are the people that want to change, that want something different, that want a way out. Those are the people that keep coming back to the rooms and want to deal with their codependency. So codependency shows up for me the worst in my intimate relationships, and it showed up in lots of other relationships, but usually my biggest problems are right in those intimate relationships, like family of origin or intimate partner relationships. So I got to a point where I had so many failed relationships that I was like, I need to figure out what's going on because, being with someone and then like, say you have kids, say you build a house together, say you get engaged, but you don't get married, but you're building a life. Like enough times has happened to me where I built a life with someone and it wasn't very solid. And then it all had to get dissolved. And that whole foundation went away. Everything I built went away. And it's costly. Like all the moving, all the packaging, all the throwing away, having to disrupt the kids. Like I got really sick of building stuff and it not being able to stand and stay, and then back to restarting. And I've just gotten to a point where I'm done with restarting all the time. So I came to Codependents Anonymous, and that really helped me curve like it took me out of extreme mode. It helped me with emotional regulating. It helped me get out of black and white thinking. And it helped me to become even more accountable for myself and really paying attention to what I put back out into the world. Like, I'm responsible for me. So things are going to happen to me. But I'm responsible for what I put back out. And I think like getting out of victim mode, this really helped me get out of victim mode. Like, because it was like, I either do what I've always been doing, or I choose the recovery path. And like, I already was on the recovery path. So I was like, well, I'm going to have to learn and do this now, because I definitely have all these codependency problems. So I got to work in recovery of Codependents Anonymous and really started to curve all of my dysfunctional patterns and turn them into recovery patterns, and really got myself out of that extreme way of being. Like, so the codependency has multiple, there's severe, like I had severe control issues, less of that now, severe low self-esteem, compliant patterns, denial patterns, avoidant patterns. Now, a lot of people out there are really focused on one column of stuff. Like, people will put labels on people and then be like, oh, they're so avoidant. They're so avoidant. How to love an avoidant, how to be with an avoidant, and that person that's their coping mechanism. They aren't just the avoidant. If they're showing avoidant behaviors and patterns, they're going to have other codependent patterns like compliance patterns, control patterns. There's going to be low self-esteem there, because it's pretty hard to have only one codependent trait or pattern. When you come into the rooms, like most people, like what I've seen experience is that coming in the rooms, I had all of the patterns. And I think that it takes time to come in and sit there and to actually acknowledge that, like, oh, I have all the patterns. I'm all these things that I have to work on. And it's a tall order. It's a big list of stuff. And I have not ever seen anyone just have one section of the codependent patterns. I think that'd be weird. And even autistic people have come in there and they don't have just one pattern. Like, I think as humans, we have multiple coping patterns, like in codependency, denial, low self-esteem, and control. All of our behaviors come from a root source in ourself, where that problem comes from somewhere. And it's usually was a seed of childhood. So I'm going to read a few here today. We read these in every meeting. Like, we read a section of them. So like when I go to my meetings, I am like aware of the patterns each week. And then I see what I should not be to what I should be. Like, it really gives me like a map. And it also, I can always track my progress. Like, sometimes we come around, it's a different pattern every week, but like sometimes I come around, I'm like, oh man, I like slid a little in that area, and like I need to be a little bit better up in this area. Like, it's really cool. I really appreciate that I get to track my progress. But here's something that is interesting, right? You would never know it. A denial pattern is perceive themselves as completely unselfish and dedicated to the well-being of others. Now, how many Christians and Catholics out there are, acting however they want, but then just go, well, I'm completely like that saintly aloofness that that they never do harm. That is a codependent pattern. Okay? Even recovery people do this. Now, in recovery, it would say, so that we go, the person thinks they're unselfish. And then in recovery, it goes, I know the difference between caring and caretaking. I recognize that caretaking others is often motivated by a need to benefit myself. This is some hard truths here. And I love the truth, and especially the hard ones. That's where the goods are. So, anyways, perceive themselves as completely unselfish and dedicated to the well-being of others. How do I make this about me? The reason I make it about me is because I can only really talk about my own story. And, one thing that happened in AA is that it's like, don't be selfish. But then I made myself a doormat. And so then in Coda, it was like, put yourself first. And so there was a weird transition time for me where I was feeling like I was betraying AA because I was going to Coda. But then when I was in Coda, it was felt really guilty for putting myself first in situations, and didn't know how to put myself first. Didn't know what my needs were, what my wants were. So really interesting. But here's another one. I'll read another one. Here we go. A denial pattern is think they can take care of themselves without any help from others. In recovery, I acknowledge that I sometimes need help from others. I was this codependent. I did not need you, want you, I didn't want help from anyone. I was I'm just going to do this all on my own. I didn't care. And I was a rampage, just self-driving my ship. Too fast with not enough direction. That's out of control. And so in recovery, I really had to learn how to ask for help, and ask for help from a higher power. One thing about asking for help is really vulnerable, and instead of telling someone to do, ask them for something that you need. As a codependent, I wasn't allowed to have needs. I wasn't used to having needs, and I definitely wasn't vocalizing my needs. So I'm in Coda, and now I have to do all this work to stop being so self-reliant and self-sufficient to being more human and soft, and learning how to reach out. I didn't reach out because I just knew how to get things done since a young age. I just knew I take care of myself and screw everybody else. I'm just going to do it. To me, that just seemed like the easier way. And that's just a grieving child. I'm doing that because I'm a grieving child. My inner child is sad. And so that's where that coping mechanism came from. And so I had to practice a brand new behavior of actually asking and needing help. That was so foreign to me, and who cares? Who wants to help me? I had all these negative beliefs, wrapped around asking for help and needing help. I thought I was less than for needing help. I thought I was not as capable because I needed help. And then by asking help, it was I was being more vulnerable, which really freaked me out. I never felt comfortable with that. So these are just some of the codependent patterns. Those were just 2 that I read, and I think there's a dozen per section, and there's 5 sections. So you guys can do the math on that. Anyways, this is just a bit on some codependency, and if you ever get to check one of those rooms out one day, they're pretty awesome. So thanks, guys. Thanks for being here. Bye.